Well, good afternoon, everybody. As always, it's a pleasure and an honor to be before you, especially on this marvelous day. A mentor of mine once told me when I was in my journey, striving to get my GED, that dreams are nothing but organized goals. And I'm pretty sure everybody in here can attest to the fact that most goals are only attainable with a strong support system and a radical sense of self-commitment. The young man that I want to introduce you today is someone that I met about 2.5 years ago while serving as his case manager and working with him while he was incarcerated and further helping him when he came home. One of the things that stood out to me about this young man was his sense of resilience. Through our deep conversations, he let me know some of the trials and tribulations that he had experienced as a child, and then prior to him being incarcerated, and also things that he experienced while he was incarcerated. And while we had those conversations, we drew a very deep connection, but I also found a lot of parallels in our story. And one of the things that jumped off the page was his desire to continue his education. And I knew at that point that he was at one particular point of the process, and I was at the other end of the spectrum in the process. And I knew that I was able to get where I was based off of the fact that I committed myself to my education. So I knew that it was imperative for him that out of all the resources that I was able to connect him to, the most important one was connecting him to the opportunity through the K-Field Literacy Council to continue his education. And I tell you, it's been an honor, it's been a pleasure, it's been a privilege, and a headache. Watching this young man progress and navigate all of the different adversity and challenges that he had to face as a case manager and as somebody that's very rooted in the community and trying to help people, especially individuals re-entering back into society. One of the most frustrating parts for me is wanting it for people more than they want it for themselves. Putting people in position or helping them cultivate opportunities only to watch them fumble the rock. Now, my mentor also told me that we're not striving for perfection, we're striving for progression. And that's something that I try to keep all of my mentees mindful of, and of course I let him know that too. So I say that to say that there's obviously been times where he's fumbled the rock per se, but the beauty of being a part of his journey is watching him not just fumble the rock and give in, but doubling back, picking the rock up and heading for the score. This man, I'll stand here and say it today, and I've said it at other functions, has a heart of gold. He is truly the future and the face of the nonprofit sector. The work that he's doing in the community with the youth right now is just amazing and astounding. And without further ado, I introduce to you my little brother, mentee, the man, the myth, the legend, Isaiah Ellis.
Good afternoon, everybody. Thanks for talking back to me. I am a little nervous. As Mr. Jameer said, my name is Isaiah Ellis. I was born and raised in Charlotte, North Carolina, but I'm proud to call myself a resident of this beautiful place, Wilmington, North Carolina now. I would like to start by showing favor where favor is due and saying thank you to the Literacy Council, and I will further expand on that when I share a little of my story and what led me to the Literacy Council and the people who help at the Literacy Council. But I want to show favor to the Literacy Council and also Mr. Jameer, who's not only been a case manager for me, but at times he's been a parent that I never had. He's been a father figure, and not enough money in the world could give back for what this man's done for me and how he's turned my life around. So I love you and I appreciate you, Jameer. I want to thank you guys all for coming out here, and I'm super grateful to have this opportunity. So I'm speaking about my experience with the Literacy Council, but I'm going to share a little bit about my walk that got me there in the first place. So as I said, I was born and raised in Charlotte, North Carolina, and I'm going to pace a little bit because it keeps me focused because my mind goes everywhere if I don't. But like I said, I'm from Charlotte, North Carolina, and I've never met my biological mother or my father. And so my legal guardian, the woman I call mom today, she struggled with substance use disorder, and we lived in various environments like her van for several days at a time, laundromats, we couch hopped, and that was the way that I was brought up. And so about 6, 7 years old, I was getting bullied, and I wasn't receiving the help that I needed at school with my attention and the help that I needed with IEs and things of that such. And so my mom pulled me out. And as I said, there was no father figure in my life to come to the school and set his foot down and say, hey, we need to change this. Hey, he needs a little extra help. And so since my mom couldn't do that, she just pulled me out of school and eventually slipped back into substance use disorder. And so from 7 years old up until I was 14, I didn't have any encounter with any type of studying, school, or anything of that sort. So for so long, my mindset was so fixed on doing whatever I wanted to do and doing so many unhealthy things that I never had the experience to do anything like the Literacy Council had in store for me later on down the road. And so like I said, about 14, I got reintroduced to it, but I got reintroduced to it through falling victim to the same thing that my mom fell victim to, which was substance use and alcohol disorder. I will fast forward through a lot of that, through several overdoses, through several rehabs, jails, detoxes, people trying to help me, all of which, along with the school that they tried to make you do while you were there, were all forced by the system that was in place trying to help me, but I didn't understand how to help myself. I didn't, just like Jameer said, I didn't want it for myself. And these people that the Lord had placed in my life to try and push me in that direction, it hurt them even more to see that I didn't want it for myself. And I didn't know how to want it for myself. So as I said, as Jameer said, I did end up becoming incarcerated for about 2 years due to the fact that I got caught with a large amount of what I was using to what I thought was sustain a normal lifestyle, a regular lifestyle. And it was very unfortunate, but thankfully, my mom told me, she said, Isaiah, I just hope it doesn't change your heart. And so when I went there, I started for the first time ever considering, hey, could I get my high set, my GED, my high school equivalent, my diploma? Is there any possible way? Because as I told you, from age 7 all the way up until 14, I didn't experience any of it. And at 14, I wasn't trying to do it for myself anyways. People were trying to force me to do it, and I found any and every way to get around it. And while I was incarcerated, like Jameer said, he started working with me. I met him through a link program and became my case manager. I came home and I got introduced to Miss Yasmin with Jameer, and he took me out to eat with her. And Jameer said, he's got a way with words, by the way, and I'm not that good with all the words. I wish I could. It's very cool, but I can't. He's still mentoring me, so we're going to get there. Like the whole parallels and jumping off pages, like I'm going to be a poet like that, like the people up here one day, but we're not there yet. But just like he was saying parallels, that was a perfect illustration because there were a lot of parallels between his story and mine that made me understand, like, wow, this man he could be a father figure, a real mentor. And so Jameer would implement these things when we would talk, and he would mentor me, and he would help me with several different things, like a parent would help you with. How do I get my GED? How do I get my license? How do I get health insurance? All of these simple things that I didn't have the help to do that he put in place. As he helped me with these things, after I met Yasmin and I started tutoring, it hit me. I was like, wow, this man's pouring so much into me, and these people are pouring so much into me, because the thing about the Literacy Council is it's much different than if I were to pay a tutor. And I'm not saying that that's a bad thing, but for me, my experience, these people they go above and beyond. I could tell my tutor, hey, I can only pay attention for an hour. That's it. And then my mind's everywhere else. You got 110% for an hour. Anything over that, it's not going to work. And so little things like that they would kind of support me in, that they 100% would support me in, helped me a lot. So to go back to our parallels, Jameer had also explained to me, hey, it took me 2 years to do my math. And I'm like, man, 2 years? Because I had passed reading, writing, social studies, and science of the high school equivalency. And once I got there, I was like, Jameer, I'm gonna create a landscaping business. He's like, man, you're moving too fast. You got to get your GED. I'm like, but I'm good at it. I'm great at it. I pay attention to detail. Look how I can do. Nope, you're moving too fast, man. You got to get your GED. Stay focused, stay focused. And so that cycle kind of went on and went on and went on. And there were several opportunities that I had, but unfortunately, later on down the road, about 4 or 5 months after I came home, I tried to do what worked for me in one season, incarcerated, in this season of being a free man, and it didn't work, unfortunately. And I didn't understand. I had to learn the hard way that what worked for me in one season isn't always going to work in the next. And I stopped out what I learned at the Literacy Council. I didn't drop out. I stopped out of the tutoring program with Mr. Kevin right here being my tutor that laid a firm foundation with me, playing with building blocks at the UNCW campus, embarrassing me. Yeah, that's a small story on a side note. We tutored at the UNCW campus because I was like, oh, a college campus. I want to do that. I'm young, I'm back in Wilmington. And I was like, it'd be cool to see a college campus. So he was like, yeah, I'll meet you there. And then, he's like showing me these ways he can tutor me. And I'm like, building blocks? Oh my gosh. There's girls my age walking by. I'm like, put those away, man. But anyways, that's just a funny story, but I could tell, that was another thing I could tell him and be like, can we kind of keep it down? Can we go behind the bookshelf? And he would work with me. But to go back to my thought, all of these parallels, it took me also 2 years to later on accomplish my GED. And it took me that long because that stop out, I had to, unfortunately, when I learned the hard way, and when I say the hard way, when Jameer said fumble the rock, and I believe the passion in his voice when he said it hurts to see is because of what I am about to say. I slipped back into substance use disorder here in Wilmington, and on the 4th of December, at the end of 2024, I tried to take my life, and I took several substances. I completely lost my heartbeat at Novant Health, and that was my rock bottom, truly, for the first time ever. The Lord had a different plan for me. I went to Christian recovery centers out in Charlotte, and I came back here, and the Literacy Council was still right here waiting for me. And so I got yep, please do. Thank you, guys. I got another tutor, Mr. Mike Weir. Love the man to death. He was great, people. But he helped me, again, to further go from the foundation that Kevin and I had built to what I finally was able to see as consistently putting in this effort to finish up that GED. I will say that the feeling, this pit in my stomach and this nervous feeling that used to drive me and this identity issue I had that used to lead me to drinking or to smoking or to using these things that weren't for me to feel a part of, to feel like I was included or like I belonged, or that took the anxiety away, much like the anxiety up on the stage, but that took the anxiety away. That same pit in my stomach I would have when I thought about finishing that GED. I was like, I don't want to go do this. I don't want to go do this. So that same feeling that drove me to doing what essentially took my life time and time again and tore up my life legally and burnt so many bridges, that same terrible feeling, the Literacy Council helped me take away when I completed my GED. Amen for that. So thank you guys. I could sit up here and I could talk all day long. Lord knows I can talk. But I do want to say from the bottom of my heart, I love and I appreciate every individual in here. Thank you for being a part of this. I'm learning new things just by coming in here. There's a lot that I don't understand about this big organism, but I love it, and I'm here for all of it. Thank you guys so much. That's it.